On today's episode, we're gonna try out the Russell's 10 versus the Eagle Rare 10 year. This is the first blind challenge on this channel, and we're gonna figure out who will win. I go by the name of, let's get into this.
Play the intro.
Lord, let's serve you some whiskey. Welcome back, folks. We got an interesting one today. A very interesting one today. I was thinking, like, what can I do? Something to break it up, you know. I like reviewing bottles, don't get me wrong, but let me do a blind challenge. Just curiosity. I was like, I don't want to sit here and blind 5 different bottles. Let me just keep it light for the first one. So I thought about the first bottle I reviewed on this channel, which was the Russell's 10. I'll go ahead and drop that link right here. And then I was thinking about one that a lot of people like. Sometimes people can't find it, or sometimes people can't find it. Is the Eagle Rare 10. Now I would say the Eagle Rare 10 is cool. It's not necessarily that I gravitate to the most on the reg, but in my journey I've had plethoras of regular ones and the single barrel expressions. Now, what they said, I've had both of these bottles labeled, and then, you know, both of my Glens are marked at the bottom with like A and B, and they've been, you know, jostled around different sizes, you know, by me and somebody else. So I don't know which glass is which. For transparency, my nose is stuffy right now. I'm necessarily not sick, it's just I'm really stuffy right now. So if you hear me sniffling things like that, it's because my nose is clogged. So at some point you may see me kind of like break away and try to like unclog my nose. So yeah. So I will say I honestly haven't had the Russell's 10 in a while. I think actually last time I had the Russell's 10 was when I made that video. So it was probably like, oh god, maybe like 2 months ago or a month. I'm unsure, but like I said, I have drunk the Russell 10 on a reg as my daily sipper before, so I'm pretty familiar with that. The Eagle Rare 10 year, from what I remember, I'm not too familiar with that, but I can kind of pick out a note if I can. I'm not being cocky and said I would know the Russell's 10 if I smelled it, but side by side, I would say we can definitely figure it out. So let's get into this. So yeah, so already color wise, it's not really too much you can really gauge on the difference. We're not gonna do a leg test or anything like that right now. So what we're gonna do, we'll take these tops off, and then I'm gonna go back and forth. So yeah, so this right here, I guess for transparency, what I'll do is, let me get a piece of paper. So I need to actually mark what my A and B is. So when we figure out, we're good to go. So, and then I'll do a glass. I'll do 2 things. So let's do one where we think it's the Russell's 10, and then one where we think it's the Eagle Rare. So we'll save that one for the end. But for right now, I just need to know 1 or 2. So as I'm tasting it and going along, you all can see exactly what I'm tasting. So 1 and 2. So yeah. All right, so going for the first glass right here. Let's go. Ooh. Hello. Already on the nose. Definitely getting oak. There's a Chico stick in there. Haha. There's also a cornbread note in it, but mostly like the cornbread when you're baking it, and it's that part where you think it's done. And so you take it out the oven and then you stick the knife in the middle and it just like collapses like that, and it's still like kind of doughy in the middle. That kind of cornbread. There's a sweet note in there. There's a cherry in there, but the cherry's more like the Michigan or Michelin, not Michelin. You know, like the sweet cherries in the bag, the cheap ones. Brown sugar. So that's that nose right there. That overall, that nose is pretty good. It's pretty pleasant. Like I said, my nose is stuffed up, so I'm not able to pick up a lot of stuff that I normally will. So I'm moving to the second glass. All right, so this one I would say, so they're both 90 proof. I should have mentioned that. Both 10 years and both 90 proof. This one, a little more of the ethanol came out. This one, same thing. I'm getting a little of the oak presence, not so much as that one right down there. This one does have a more fruit forward note, not necessarily a cherry note. Ooh, it could be a grape note I'm getting. Also, there's a honey note in there, but the honey, like if you got tea somewhere from like a restaurant to go or a nice coffee shop and they gave you like the tea, the honey tube, kind of like that. Not the honey from the gas station though, but regular honey you put in tea. Like I said, that grape note is in there. It's deep. There's a chocolate note in there too. I'm getting in there. Overall, not bad. That's not a bad nose. I'm probably leaning more to the 1 right now than 2. Yeah. 2. This is hard. But yeah. Okay. So I would say there is a subtle difference, obviously, between the Wild Turkey Distillery and the Buffalo Trace Distillery. So let's go on for the taste. So we're gonna taste one right now. Am I cheating if I already know what number 1 is? I know that tastes anywhere. Number 1, I would say, is really pleasant. You drink it, it definitely has that Kentucky hug. It's not too crazy with 90 proof, but this is like the first drink I've had of like the night. It is a vibe. You definitely do get the oak tannins on the tongue. I would say with my nose being stopped up, I'm noticing things I normally would get, I'm not getting because I can't really necessarily smell right now. But taste overall, definitely getting oak in there. It's not too over oak or not too much of a tannic note. That cherry note is still lingering. There is like kind of like that faint cornbread taste is in there as well too, and almost like hints of vanilla. Go back in front of the taste. Yeah, so yeah, that might be hard. I don't know, because like these are honestly tasting kind of similar. And like I said, I personally pour them, but like these are tasting like too similar. So I mean, not tasting too similar, but smelling too similar. So hopefully, based off of this second one, how it tastes, I can start to break down which is which. So yeah, palate cleanser. All right, before we move on, let me know in the comments if you personally like Russell's 10 or if you like the Eagle Rare 10. So full transparency, both of these were found for MSRP. You don't see the Russells too marked up out there in the wild. Obviously the Eagle Rare, I've seen crazy prices for Eagle Rare in the wild. I won't personally get them, but hey, do your stuff you want to do. So yeah, so second glass, let's go. The nose is the same. Ready for a taste. I'm gonna go ahead and headshot it. I feel number 1 is the Russell's 10. And here's my reason being. Number 2, when I drink it, they're both not bad, but number 2, when I drink it, there was this herbal tea note that hit me. And I personally never got the herbal tea note from a Russell's 10 or whatever. However, I would say with the Eagle Rare, you do sometimes get like a grape note that does pop up. With the herbal tea, only thing I can think that the mash bill, like I personally don't know off the top of my head, the mash bill for the Russell's 10 versus the Eagle Rare, but the Eagle Rare could have a higher rye mash bill than Eagle 10. I mean, than the Russell's 10. It's a joke that went off my head. But anyway, so that's the only thing I'm thinking. It could have that high rye mash bill higher than number 1 that I'm actually getting. Overall, it is a pretty, solid pour. Like I said before, that one does have a little hug to it, but they're both 90 proof. But that one, for some strange reason, has a little more up to it. So I'm thinking it could be, the rye mash bill, concentrate in there. I'm going for another taste. Yeah, I'll be thoroughly impressed if that wasn't what I think it is. Like I said, definitely it feels like tea, but tea with like a side of biscuit. Very faint. There's not too much of a cherry note present, but it's a very, very herbal thing that's going on right now in that glass. It's not too tannic, which once again, I know the Russell 10, usually when I drink it, is more of an oak presence than of the Eagle Rare 10. That's all I'm saying. They're obviously both aged the same way, but for some reason, there's more oak presence, in my personal opinion, in the Russell's 10 than the Eagle Rare 10. I think that's personally why I like it. I just feel like it feels more fulfilling, Always gotta cleanse that palate. All right, so let's bring it down to the home stretch. So I went ahead and I headshot it number 1 as the Russell's 10. So let's do one more loopy loop and let's see what the vibe is. So yeah, number one. Yeah, I'll be beyond pissed if this isn't Russell's 10, because it just doesn't taste, or I mean, it doesn't smell like Eagle Rare to me. Going back in. Yeah, I'm telling you that the oak is jumping out. It's for sure. Once again, I haven't had Eagle Rare in a while. I'll be thoroughly surprised if my guest was around, and I would definitely blame it on my stuffy nose. But I don't know. I'm still going my headshot for number one, being Russell's 10. Overall solid. The taste is still transferring over. Let's jump into number two, and then we'll wrap this up. Let's get into number two. Two is Eagle, one is Russell's for sure. Yeah, off nose alone, one is crazy. Yeah, that's crazy. All right, folks. So if you ever had Russell's 10, you know that note I'm talking about. It jumps out. It's like a welcoming party with a bunch of oak, but also too there is a flavor complex ride that follows. Now the finish itself isn't necessarily too long with either of these, but I personally, from previous experience before this blind, like the finish better over than the Russell's 10. Now don't get me wrong, Eagle Rare 10, it is solid for what it is. My only problem with it is that you can't really find it for MRSRP. And like I said, I only find it for MRSRP, but it's really hard to make it like an everyday sipper when it's so hard to find. So you have to basically kind of like nurse the bottle you have until you find another one. Whereas a Russell's 10, you can finish it and then go on about your business and then find another one tomorrow at like a CVS or wherever the case may be. So yeah, moment we're waiting for. Number two is Bottle B. What is Bottle B, you say? Is it this one? Or yes, Bottle B is the Eagle Rare. Bottle, you can't even see it, but B. And then Bottle A is none other than the Russell's 10. God damn, let's make some noise. The first blind challenge on this channel, and I nailed it. I picked my favorite, Russell's 10, over the Eagle Rare. I'll be honest, I had a shot at that instantly. I knew from the first smell that it was like, boom.
Am I cheating if I already know what number one is? I know that tastes really well.
And yeah, it happened. It's crazy. It's ironically funny that for the cards I have for my placements that A and B ended up that way. But like I said, these classes got mixed up so much that I honestly didn't know which is which, and I pulled a different direction anyway. So yeah, so let me know in the comments if this is kind of close to what you personally like. If you prefer the Eagle Rare over Russell's 10, nothing wrong with that. Let me know what you think in the comments. Also, let me know if you're Team Russell Reserve 10 years in the comments. And do you like that over the Eagle Rare 10 year? So yeah. So if you like this one, go ahead, give me a good old like, comment, and subscribe. Yeah. Woo! And like we always say at this time, folks, cheers, salute, Sante, Kobe, and all that jazz.